flowers like glacier, pretty like ray tracing. I've become complacent.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have some plant chores that I'd like to take care of. I have some new plants that I need to get ready for my shop. And I would also like to attempt a chop and extend on my Philodendron Dark Lord. If that's something you're interested in, please keep watching. In this order, I did get some more Philodendron Burley Marks variegated. Here is a Philodendron Florida Beauty. Isn't she stunning? Yes. Here's a wish list plant that I recently purchased. This plant is so beautiful. It looks like it's living in moss mostly. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to remove as much as I can without pissing off the plant too much. So honestly, I don't want to remove all of the moss because I do not want to rip out the roots. I'm gonna go ahead and just pot it up with the moss on the roots as it is and wait for it to grow some more roots in the substrate that I'm going to put it in, and then I'll come back and just re-pot her. So with this plant, I'm not going to compact it in this potting mix too much because I left the sphagnum moss on her. She's very new and I don't want to put her into too much shock. Once she gets more acclimated to my conditions, I will go ahead and repot her. I'm wondering if she's in moss and perlite for a reason. Maybe she requires a lot of water. I do not know the care conditions for this plant. Imagine that. But you know, this is a plant I have been wanting. She did have a new leaf in the box, but she was in shipping longer than she was supposed to be. And I think the rest of this new leaf just melted off. I seen a piece of spinach in the box, but that's okay. You know, all her other leaves are in great condition. And, you know, once her new leaf comes in, I'm pretty sure it will not look like this. So, you know, this is just part of the stress of shipping when it comes to plants, and I know she will bounce back, so let's hope so. I'm so excited to have this plant in my collection. I found these clear sticks laying around my house. I have a few of them. I think they're to mix chemicals or something. I just lost it in the potting mix, but I think these are pretty cool. I really hope I don't break it because it is glass and, you know, I am clumsy. Okay, you guys, here is my Philodendron Dark Lord. And here is her newest leaf growing in right now. And these are her leaves. So I will try to step back one more time so you can see how big she is. So again, this is my Philodendron Dark Lord. I am going to attempt to chop and extend her today. So her bottom leaves are actually touching the ground. I had another grow light close to her that was, you know, a little lower, and I think the lower leaves were just reaching for it, and the top leaves were reaching for the other light source that I had near her at the time. So yeah, let's get into it. Let me see if I can successfully chop and extend this baby right here. And yes, this is my favorite plant. Currently she's in my 6-inch tall clear pot, and she is extremely root bound. She goes through her water like crazy, and I don't know if you can see here, I have started trying to propagate her roots. She has moss and saran wrap around some aerial roots. So she has some roots, so I'm not too concerned with her trying to get reestablished with this new leaf growing in. And that's her. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cut her. So the point that I cut her at will callus over before I begin the repot. While the piece that cuts calluses over, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the moss from the bottom of the moss pole. So when she's ready, I'm going to stick her in another pot like this and put her back in leca. So let me go find a place for her to chill while she's callousing, and I'm gonna cut this second piece of her into individual cuttings. So here's the bottom piece. Let me see where I can cut her. And I'm gonna cut her again right here. And this is her last cutting. These leaves are crazy. So this chunk here is a little bigger than the other pieces, but it has multiple nodes, and if for some reason I'm unsuccessful trying to root these cuttings, I feel like I have a little bit more security if there is multiple nodes on this one piece. And here are the 3 cuttings. I don't know if you can see them too well. I'm gonna try not to get this red all over this white countertop, but I think it's too late for that. And for this bottom piece, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave her in this pot just in case. It's already a rooted plant, and this gives me even more security. What I would actually like to do at some point is pot this plant and the other plant up together. I'm gonna go ahead and wait, since the root system on this plant is much more established than the other plant. Once that plant starts rooting aggressively like this one did in LECA, I'm gonna go ahead and put them together. And this piece of the plant is not actually attached to the moss pole like the other cutting is. The other piece of this plant, the aerial roots are actually growing into the pole, and it's doing very well. So this will be very easy to go ahead and transition when it's time to put them in the same pot. And it's gonna need a bigger pot. This plant is very thirsty in my experience. I don't know what it is. When I bought this plant, it was in moss. I let it stay in moss for like maybe a year because I was in love with it, and I was too scared to take it out of moss and try to transition it to anything. And one day I just said, it's getting out of control. It's almost no moss left in the container that I had her in. So I went ahead and just took a risk and took all the moss off of her roots, put her in LECA, and she still was just pumping out leaves, just going off. I mean, this plant is very hardy, it's very strong, and I love it so much. It's never given me any fuss. And these lower leaves actually look like they're maybe getting ready to go. I'm not sure, and I think it has to do with me underwatering it. But you know, these are the oldest leaves on the plant. They are so beautiful. I love this plant so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and just let this one be. I'm gonna put it somewhere and see if it'll actually shoot out a new growth point. And I can't wait to see if the other one is going to be successful, just like this piece. All right, let's finish repotting this plant. I removed the moss off of the roots. And I also removed some of the moss from the bottom of the pole so that I can put some LECA in it. So let me go ahead and start repotting this plant. And this plant will be going in LECA. So this is her on her new moss pole, and I also added a pole. I'm gonna go ahead and get another moss pole to extend her, because if you can see, she's growing a new leaf and her aerial roots are growing into the steel of the moss pole where there is no moss. So let me go ahead and grab that as well. I added a zip tie right here in the front as well to secure the front and the back of the new moss pole to the existing moss pole. So it'll give it a little bit more security. This moss pole is dry and it's flailing. You know, the moss is flailing all over the place, but I'm not really in the mood to clean up any more water, making a mess. So I'll go ahead and get the vacuum. So this is what she's looking like. It's very hard to show her. So here is the bottom of the moss. Here's the bottom of the plant. And here is the new extension at the top, and I also added a garden stake to hold both of the moss poles together. And I'm gonna go ahead and re-wet the moss that's on the top, and hopefully, fingers crossed, she'll be good to go and she won't be too pissed off at me for, you know, rearranging her whole life. Thank you so much for checking out my video today. I really hope you all enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think at my attempt to do the chop and extend with my Philodendron Dark Lord, and I'll see you in the next video.
Flowers like glacier, pretty like ray tracing.